Palestinian authorities denounced genocidal Israeli forces are laying complete siege to Jenin city. Georgia has been certified malaria-free by the World Health Organization. And in the United States, 2 new forest fires were reported, this time in San Diego near the Mexican border for months. Hello and welcome to From the South. I'm Alejandra Garcia from teleSUR Studios in Caracas, Venezuela. We begin with the news. Stay with us. Palestinian authorities denounced genocidal Israeli forces are laying complete siege to Jenin city. Deputy Governor of Jenin, Mansour Saadi, claimed that the occupation troops have cordoned off the 4 main entrances to the city and the refugee camp. The authority detailed that huge berms prevented civilian citizens from entering or leaving the area. Saadi further specified that the siege includes airstrikes and ground incursions that have already left 12 deaths and numerous wounded. The deputy governor noted that the Israeli forces have burned several homes. The official asserted that the situation is even worse not only due to the precarious conditions of the governmental hospital, but also due to the Israeli regime has cut water and electricity, in addition to limiting the entry of fuel. In Palestine, after the ceasefire, an exchange of hostages and the return of displaced civilians to their neighborhoods are expected. From the Gaza Strip, our collaborator Huda Hegazi brings us more information.
En el día de hoy, fuentes hebreas e israelíes mostraron los detalles.
Today, Hebrew Israeli sources provided details about the hostages for prisoner swap, which will be held on Saturday. Furthermore, they explained that what would be happening further, including the procedure that Gazans must follow to come back to northern Gaza. Firstly, media outlets informed that the Hamas movement must hand over the list of the 4 hostages who will be released the next Saturday. We can say that 3 out of the 4 hostages are women soldiers, and just 1 is a civilian woman. They further ensured that after the delivery of this list, which is scheduled on Friday or Saturday, the hostages for prisoner swap will be carried out, in which the Hamas movement should release these 4 women, and in turn the Israeli regime should release a figure of female Palestinian prisoners, but so far they haven't said the accurate number. However, by the time that hostages for prisoner swap takes place, which is estimated to be held at 4 p.m., the Hamas movement must release these 4 hostages at the International Red Cross, and this one will be in charge of taking them to the border crossings, where the head of the Mossad, Shabbatat Shabit, as well as the representatives of the Israeli forces will pick them up, so they will take them to a care center to check that they are healthy, and later they will take them to their families. Right after completing such process, the Israeli regime should initiate to withdraw from the Netzari checkpoint, which is really set to split the north from the south of the Gaza Strip. And once the Israeli forces and all military mechanism withdrew, then it would be allowed the return of Gazans to the northern area. Notwithstanding, on Saturday, by the time the 4 hostages be released, the Hamas movement is planning to hand over the list of the rest of hostages who will be released in this first phase, amounting to 33 hostages. Besides, Hamas will indicate those hostages remaining alive and those who passed away. The returning operation of Gazans to the northern strip, we had already noticed that the comeback will occur after the withdrawal of the Israeli forces and the military mechanism in the Natsari area. For the return of Gazans to the north, there are 2 paths. One is the Al-Rashid Street, which is the coastal path where Gazans will be allowed to return by foot with basic needs, for instance a backpack, and in that path Gazans won't be checked. We have to say that such path is open for the exit and return. That is, Gazans will be able to return from the north to the south and from the south to the north. Nonetheless, the other path, which is the Salah al-Din Street, is made for vehicles, cars, and even those carried charts by animals as donkeys or horses. However, that path will be checked in with an X-ray device of an Egyptian Qatari company, which will be the one checking in those cars, vehicles that pass by that road. We have to highlight that it is only allowed the entrance from the south to the north and not vice versa. That is, those Gazans driving cars or vehicles won't be allowed to return from the north to the south of the Gaza Strip, in a way that such process in which the Salah al-Din Street could be open, that is, Gazans could go in and out, that process will take place after 22 days of the humanitarian truce, 2 weeks after the return of Gazans to the north area. And that is what the Israeli regime issued today, but we are still waiting for the official statement to be made by the Hamas movement, which will be issued late Friday or even on early Saturday, the day in which hostages will be released.
A primeras horas de el sábado, el día en el que se liberarán los rehenes.
Early voting continues in the presidential elections in Belarus with more than 27% turnout amidst accusations of Western interference. The early voting continues in the elections until January 25th. More than 27.15% of the citizens belonging to the electoral list go to the voting centers, where more than 200 young people, students or workers participate massively. International observers, among them Pan-African countries and the Youth Organization of the Non-Aligned Countries movement, are present in each region. They affirm that in each electoral center there is a warm coexistence and solidarity among the citizens. Presidential elections in Belarus with more than 27% turnout amidst accusations of Western interference. And now we have a short break coming up, but first remember you can join us on TikTok at teleSUR English, where you'll find news in different formats, news updates and more. We'll be right back, stay with us. Welcome back to From the South. Georgia joins the list of 40 malaria-free countries as of Friday, according to the World Health Organization, which considers this achievement a historic milestone. The director of the organism, Tedros Ghebreyesus, has congratulated the government and the Georgian people, recognizing decades of sustained and specific actions that contributed to eliminate this illness, considered one of the diseases that has caused the most death in the world. For his part, the Georgian Minister of Health, Mikhail Veladze, assures that the certification is a recognition to the sustainability of the health system. The highest authority in the Vatican has denounced the lack of information in the media and reaffirmed that through social networks, it is in many cases in control of the lines of disinformation. On the occasion of the 59th edition of the World Day of Social Communications, Pope Francis has criticized the fact that algorithms in social networks alter the perception of reality. The Supreme Pontiff also criticized the fact that these centers of power control the data in which social networks have influenced the problems of the world societies. In his speech, Pope Francis warned against the misuse of artificial intelligence, which he said has in some cases been used to manipulate the consciences of the most vulnerable people. The Meteorological Authority of Ireland issued a red alert for Storm Eowyn, which left thousands of homes in the country without power. Ireland was hit by winds of 114 miles per hour, the strongest since the Second World War. The storm, which has also spread to the United Kingdom and Scotland, caused the suspension of several flights and the closure of rail routes in places such as Gatwick and Edinburgh. It also caused the power cut-off at least 700,000 Irish homes and businesses and almost 100,000 in Northern Ireland. In the United States, 2 new forest fires were reported, this time in San Diego near the Mexican border. Authorities in Southern California issued a red alert due to the advance of the fires expected for this Friday, while evacuations were carried out north of the city after the fire intensified in the vicinity of the University of California, San Diego Medical School. The weather team predicted rainfall for this weekend, which would put an end to the drought period that has been affecting the state of California for months. The United States Geological Survey warned that the Kilauea volcano in Hawaii erupted for the first time since December 2024. The Volcanic Rest Program informed that the activity began on Wednesday with lava bursts of at least 50 meters high and gas discharges estimated in more than 10,000 tons in addition to tremors. The institute warned that the high levels of volcanic gas present a danger for the inhabitants near the zone due to the presence of gas with atmospheric mist. Likewise, the REST program warned that the resumption of volcanic movement could become active in the next few days. On Thursday, a large donation from the French workers arrived in Havana for the hospitals in Cuba. Medicines and health supplies were sent by the General Confederation of Labor of France. The gesture is the workers' response to the infamous decision of the United States government and another sign of respect for the resistance of the Cuban people. The director of the William Soler Pediatric Hospital, Elena Fontanet Valdez, assured the donation of which the institution benefits will be of significant value and will make it possible to provide better attention to the Cuban people.
So it's so warmly welcome the international solidarity of global workers as it comes at this time when that brutal, genocidal government is trying to smother us economically in order to break us as a result of its smothering policy for our country.
Meanwhile, the representative of the General Confederation of Labor of France, Sébastien Viscuso, reaffirmed that the Cuban people will not be left alone.
We are here. We are not going to move away from the Cuban people. We are willing the Cuban people can choose their system, their politics, and that no one messes with Cuba.
We have a second short break coming up, but before we invite you to visit our YouTube channel at teleSUR English, there you'll be able to rewatch our interviews, top stories, special broadcastings and more. Hit the subscribe button and activate the notification bell to stay up to date on the world's most recent events. Final short break, don't go away. Welcome back to From the South. The Mexican government ratifies a cooperation plan that opposes the unilateral measures imposed by the United States. Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum said that unilateral decisions by the United States against Mexicans do not help, so cooperation and joint coordination in a comprehensive strategy is needed. The president warned that Trump's decision could include organizations that are not linked to terrorism, which would affect the economy. Sheinbaum reiterated that they are working on a campaign against fentanyl to prevent its global spread.
What are we doing to combat these criminal organizations? Because the issue here is not if we are here, let's put it this way, if it helps. The definition of terrorist organizations goes beyond the definition to combat these organizations. That is the question, and what would the implications be? Because, in the end, that is what President Trump has publicly stated, that he does not want fentanyl in the United States. But, we not only do not want fentanyl to reach the United States, we do not want it to reach any place.
The Mexican president assured that she is conducting a legal analysis to determine the implications of the U.S. decree on the designation of cartels as terrorist organizations.
What we are doing is a legal analysis of what the implications would be for different organizations that are not linked and that could generate an economic problem with this decision, let's say. And in any case, we are making a proposal to the United States on how to collaborate together and coordinate to reduce violence in Mexico. Prevent arms trafficking from the United States to Mexico and at the same time prevent these drugs from reaching the United States and any young person in any part of the world.
At the Foundation Center for Latin American Studies Rómulo Gallegos, the day of activities in honor of the Colombian Senator Piedad Córdoba continues. As part of the 5th day of activities, the participants attended the workshop Brides and Turbans given by the Afro-Venezuelan teacher and researcher Eileen Hugueto. The event seeks to show the hairstyle, the accessories, as well as the clothing that highlighted the Colombian leader throughout the years, being a symbol that intertwined her with her Afro-descendant roots. Córdoba was an advocate for the true inclusion of multiculturalism in the Colombian territory, giving value to these practices as well as the ancestral legacy that she represents.
Because deepening in the story of the senator who transcended to another space is a living and lived example of how important it is to connect with your own essence. Beyond that, you are a public figure. Beyond that, you feel you are a common and wild person like everyone else, and I think that is the main value we have, that we give ourselves with equality. But when you connect with your essence, that truth goes beyond you, it makes an impact and transcends to others.
In Bolivia, they celebrated the annual fair of the Alacita or Abundance as a festivity declared intangible heritage of the humanity by UNESCO. The festivity is celebrated every January 24th in La Paz and other regions of the country, referring to the desire, longing or hope to receive material or immaterial goods during the year. This activity is also a gathering of the rich Bolivian heritage, a celebration of miniature handicraft, and an open door to dreams and prosperity. The Central Urban Park in La Paz is the site of concentration of the Alacita Fair. The artisans offer miniature banknotes, diplomas, houses, cars, and even household appliances, representing a step towards the realization of goals. And we have come to the end of this news brief, but remember, you can find these and many other stories on our website at telesurenglish.net and join us on social media. We are on Facebook, X, Instagram, Telegram and TikTok as well. For TeleSUR English, I'm Alejandra Garcia. Thank you for watching.